The narratives of fugitives helped paint a vivid picture of the despair of an institution that needed to be dismantled. White abolitionists gave their time, money, and energy in the fight to end slavery. They flooded the Congress with petitions, boycotted sugar and cotton, products that were harvested by the hands of the enslaved. They assisted fugitives in their escapes, and when possible, purchased their freedom. Abolition was a way of life for many, a commitment made by tens of thousands of Americans who, for many reasons, some religious and some financial, knew that slavery must come to an end. But it was the testimony of writers, like Jacobs, that gave authenticity to an abomination that sucked the hope and life from the bodies of enslaved people. For those who lived hundreds of miles away from the plantation South, Jacobs' narrative would fill in the blanks, left wide open by distance. She would affirm the horrors that were already known and expose the truths that still remained buried. Truths considered too indelicate, too pornographic to ever repeat. Although she had stolen herself from the clutches of her enslavers, she would never forget what she had lived, seen, and survived. It was time to share her story and help America recognize that the experiences of enslaved women were unlike those lived by men. Jacobs would write, "Slavery is terrible for men, but it is far more terrible for women. Superadded to the burden common to all, they have wrongs and sufferings and mortifications peculiarly their own." The timing of the publication of Incidents in the Life of a Slave Girl was both symbolic and telling. As Harriet Jacobs prepared to travel to Philadelphia in January of 1861, a trip that would launch a version of a book tour, the nation teetered on the brink of war. Only 2 months had passed since the election of Abraham Lincoln as President of the United States. It was an election that was fraught with tension and prompted the highest voter turnout in American history ever seen before. 81% of eligible voters cast a ballot for president. But this, of course, excluded women, Black people, and other people of color who called America their home. Although the Republican candidate Lincoln won the Electoral College, he did so with less than 40% of the popular vote. In 10 southern states, Alabama, Mississippi, South Carolina, North Carolina, and others, ballots were not even distributed for Lincoln. This, perhaps, was a harbinger of things to come. Southerners were infuriated by the election results, angered by long-standing concerns over westward expansion, states' rights, and a perceived threat regarding their human property. Many Southern politicians understood Lincoln's election to be the end of autonomy and control for Southern states, a rallying cry that would eventually lead to tens of thousands of deaths and a vast destruction of property. South Carolina would take the lead in this battle, making the defiant and brazen decision to label the election of Lincoln as a hostile act. Just 5 days before Christmas of 1860, South Carolina made its intentions known, publicly announcing its divorce from the United States. Within the matter of a couple of months, 10 more states joined the ranks with the new Confederate States of America, severing all official ties with their home country and creating a nation of their own.